All we see is the train wrecks. All we see is the people shooting up crystal meth on the street, and that's the entertainment of it. But what they don't see are those people that walk up the stairs wrecked. They walked up the stairs just a shell, and a short period later, they have their family back in their lives. There's so much hope for everyone. This is Recovery Now. Can you talk about the transformation that you see in people?
It keeps me coming back to work every day. You know, I get to see them walk in, and I get to see that transformation slowly, and it's beautiful. You know, you can't beat that.
I mean, realistically, not everyone is a success story. I mean, we see relapse is a part of recovery, but for most cases, though, the difficult cases that do a good job and make that transformation, when does that usually occur?
I think it's different for everyone. I mean, and we really can't tell who's going to make it by who has a bigger desire. You know, it's a journey, and it's this process, and so sometimes it happens where you see that light come on. Sometimes they're struggling and they're discharging, and that's probably the most difficult part of the job, is knowing that someone's not ready to be plopped back to their environment, and yet that's what has to happen. You know, it's a transitional period. So
they finish their first month of treatment, and then it's time to go back to their life because they have to work, or they have school, or they have kids at home. That's what you're talking about. That's what's difficult or scary for you when they have to leave.
Yeah, because it's, you know, this is a family disease. So when, you know, you leave that environment that was totally chaotic, when you leave like the partner and the kids and the bills and the job and the everything, and you remove yourself from that environment and then you get plopped back into it, it's like the people around you assume that, great, you're finally home because now you can take care of the kids and pick up the, you know, dry cleaning, and, you know, they expect you to be there the way you were and so much more. And it's completely unrealistic. And, you know, that they're not willing to change their behaviors, that they're still gonna be able to drink or have pills or whatever it is. And it's not okay, it's not safe. And so that's a difficult thing.
Is there a strategy that you use that you have found to be successful in your experience with maybe the problem cases or the harder cases?
I think that's a common, idea, is that, oh, the ones that have been through treatment a bunch are more difficult, or those who have, you know, just been unsuccessful and they've tried, or they've grown up in this environment or that environment. And, you know, everyone is different. That's why I personally have a very eclectic approach to each individual.
Okay.
And I work with a fantastic team that I can run things by. You know, people who have stronger knowledge base on certain things. So I think everyone has to be approached individually.
So I guess the message here is that the transition is really important. Yes, the treatment facility is good. You could need to go through the detoxification, the group therapy, but it's also that transition period. And every facility, I think, has an intensive outpatient program or a sober living environment, or at least the referrals that you can get to that. So it doesn't just stop after the 28 days, it continues. And that's, I think, what we're saying professionally here. Well, that actually leads us to our last show. We met with a girl named Sunny, and we're going to do a flashback here. But Sunny was basically offered treatment, and she knows so much about herself. She's very good at saying exactly what she feels, and you could just see there was no hope there. She basically said, "Look, I've been through these programs. I helped run these programs. I was a counselor, and I was going into the bathroom, and I was shooting up in the bathroom, and I was going out, and no one even knew it for weeks and weeks and weeks." And so then at this point, she's like, well, I'll try it, but why bother at this point? I've been through it all. I know myself. And we've all been there where we knew ourselves. We knew that nothing was going to stand in the way of our using. We wanted to stop, but our head just changed. Something happened in our brains, and something happened with our lives that all of a sudden we would go back to using again. And she knew herself, but is anyone a lost cause?
No.
Is it always worth it?
Absolutely.
Alcohol, methamphetamines, heroin. There are many ways to get addicted. Fortunately, there are a number of ways to start recovery. Call the Intervention and Treatment Referral now, offered by Spencer Recovery Centers.
My wife, Sunny, had a period of sobriety, and she relapsed back in May. We have a small child. We have a 2.5-year-old son.
There's always another chance, no matter how bad it gets. Is it possible? Can we talk to your wife?
I had a previous sobriety for about 2.5 years, and I put my step work on the back burner, and I went out. I was shooting dope, and I was shooting heroin and meth in my neck every day, and you know, working in treatment, trying to work there still, you know, and just trying to go to this meeting and be secretary, still high, you know. I said I wouldn't get high at work, and you know, then I'm trying to find a vein in the bathroom all night. I had no mental defense against the needle. I stole medication. I went to sober living after sober living. I used there and I used there and I used there, and I go on until I start doing things that are shady. Since I relapsed, I haven't been able to put together more than a week.
Is there a willingness? Are you basically giving up?
What's it gonna do this time? You know, why is this place gonna be magical?
So what I'm asking you at this point, will you give it one more shot, and are you willing to go to treatment?
And you'll come down there.
Yeah, of course.
At this point, what do we have to lose? I know it's scary. Look at the people in the audience.
All right. Okay.
And here is Sunny after 40 days. Come on out, Sunny. Thank you so much for doing this. I know that it hasn't been easy.
No problem.
How are you doing, first of all?
I'm doing excellent. I feel great.
There was one part where we actually asked her, it was cut out. We said, you know, do you want to go to treatment? She says, can I bring my cell phone? We're like, I don't know about that. But, you know, you went to Spencer Recovery Center, and I worked there, so I'm able to see the transition as well. I don't work hand in hand with you, but Carrie does. You know, you were honest about being a manipulator. You were honest about the other programs you went to. What's it like now for you? What was it like? What was different about this place?
You know, I'm not really sure, but there is something different. I mean, I don't know if it's with me or just with my, I had like a psychic kind of change, you know, going in there, except not being out of maybe desperation, but just out of my own choice, just to be like, all right, I'm going to do something different with my life this time and really try. And then I had a hard time for a little bit, and I really worked with Carrie, like, to address some of my other issues that might be going on, you know, other than, if I'm relapsing that much, maybe there's something else going on with me besides just my addiction, you know?
But you've worked hard. It hasn't been easy.
No, it hasn't. I've had some struggles, like just mental struggles, you know, when you get back in a mode to relapse, it's like, or feel that feeling, and then, you know, you have to just pray on it and just like, so something else can intervene, like besides yourself, you know, because I did, and God stepped in and took those things away, you know, like, because once you're in that mode, it's very hard to, once you're locked in a mode that you decided to use, or like that you're feeling like you may want to, it's very hard to get yourself out of that. And I managed to pull myself out of that with the help of Spencer.
The transition that we see just on the outside as well, I mean, people at home need to see that, because when you're working for a facility at one point, shooting drugs into your neck, and then you're back at home wondering, how am I ever going to do this? Because every center that I went to, I manipulated it, and I ended up pulling one over on them, and here I am again back at home shooting drugs or using Suboxone or whatever it is that you were doing. I'd like to just take a few minutes to have your dad and you have a little boy come up and talk to them just for a few minutes, and we'll go from there. If this isn't enough reason to get sober, I don't know what is. So what's it like, Dad?
That was very hard, just watching that, I got to say. That was really hard. I could write a book on my experiences with Sunny in rehabs. You know, she's been to a lot of rehabs from a very young age, and I wouldn't say I'm not hopeless. I'm sober too, so I know there's always hope. But you know, I've seen a lot of people relapse over the years and not make it back, and I've been praying for Sunny. You know, every time she gets in somewhere, let's pray this is the one. You know, this is the one where she can break through. And she seems different. She really does. I mean, there was always a reluctance with her before to completely surrender, I think, you know. And it's hard for young people, man, you know. It's really hard, you know. You see all their friends smoking pot and drinking, and to have that shut down at such an early age, you know. But she started young, so she kind of got a good run, you know.
That's good, yeah. So you're in sobriety as well, or in recovery?
I am, yeah.
And how long do you have?
I have about 20 months.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Has it been good having your daughter going on the same path as you?
It has been good, yeah. Although it's the hiccups, you know. I mean, I was sober for quite a long period of time before. Then I went out for like 8 years, and that was quite a horrendous experience. And during that experience, you know, we were sort of running parallel lives, and then Sonny got sober before me, and then I got sober, and then we were sober together for about 9 months, and it was absolutely fantastic.
So you used together, you got sober together, and here you are in each other's lives and up here willing to do whatever you can to help
Yeah,
other
well,
people.
hopefully we'll put the fun back in dysfunctional this time, you know?
You know, right? But I mean, hey, it is what it is, and
Yeah.
there are other people that are having the same experiences that need to hear this story.
There are miracles every day in recovery, you know?
Well, there's definitely a miracle right here. Thank you so much for coming.
Alcohol, methamphetamines, heroin. There are many ways to get addicted. Fortunately, there are a number of ways to start recovery. Call the Intervention and Treatment Referral now, offered by Spencer Recovery Centers.
I have Curtis up here right now. Curtis is someone who has 2 years of sobriety and has really done a lot to make that transition in his life. And I think it's important to go over where he's at in his sobriety right now. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So 2 years,
Christmas Day is my sober date, 2007, so a little over 2 years.
you got sober on Christmas.
I had a relapse on Christmas Eve, but
What happened on Christmas Eve?
I was smoking pot and poppers and actually driving down to a friend's family, and I was actually just visiting on my way to see my mom and dad in El Centro, and I had kids around me, and I always wanted to have kids. I always wanted to be a father, and just never happened. But this shame and guilt came over me, and I felt paralyzed. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't leave my friend's family's house, and I remember the first person I called was my sponsor, and he talked me through it. Like I was driving, and he said, you know, halt. You know, he taught me halt, which is hunger, angry, lonely, and tired. And that got me through the mountains. I had a 2-hour drive to get to my mom and dad, and I never wanted to feel that way again. I always remember how I relapsed, because that keeps me sober today, is remembering how I felt around those kids and how I didn't want to ever feel that way again. So it's been an amazing journey so far.
The holidays are hard. You know, it's like when you get to that point where you're so addicted to the drugs or the lifestyle, and you have to go back to this so-called normal life with your family and act and show them that you're okay and that you're not, you know, you're not trying to scare them in any way. What was it like this Christmas?
Well, this Christmas is a little different. My dad had given me a cake for my 1 year, and that was a gift of the program. And this past year, my dad passed actually on October 5th, and I was just grateful that I at least got him to see me sober at least for a year. So my second year was just, you know, it was a lot of work I had to do. A lot of character defects that came up that I had to douse and work on myself and get into action and suit up and show up. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I've invested so much into this, you know, this journey. The friends, the real friends, true friends I feel I have now. I actually went to school my second year. I just graduated as a drug and alcohol counselor. Got my diploma, and I never would have thought, you know, but I'm also a bartender at 2 nightclubs. A lot of the bartenders I drink with actually need a program, and it's nice to be there just so they know I'm there. I'm not, you know, promoting it. You know, it's more of attraction, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So they see you, you're working, you're bartending, they see you, you know, you're open with how you're sober, and they're coming to you for advice, and you're seeing them, and you can like see them going down the same road that you were going down.
Yeah, I've had 2 bartenders actually come up to me, and they're like, Curtis, I need to stop drinking, and I don't think they're willing yet, but I know they're trying towards it, and I think it just takes time.
You figure you get sober, you go through all this, and it wasn't easy, but then you're there at a bar, working at a bar, and someone comes to you and asks you, just because they're attracted to the fact that you are sober, they ask you for advice, and at that point, if you're able to help one person like that, then the whole thing was, you know, for a good cause.
Just one person, you know, and that makes my day.
Totally.
You know?
So can we just back up a little bit on, you know, how bad did it get for you?
The main thing for me, I mean, I had little small bottoms, like, I mean, I was go-go dancing on a float, and all the bartenders were on the float in San Diego for Pride, and midday, I fell off the float, and it was an asphalt, you know, off the flatbed truck.
Is it on YouTube?
What's that?
Is it on YouTube?
I hope not. It might be. but I broke my butt, and literally that was my bottom, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, also had a spiritual bottom as well, you know, and I came to a point where I was having intrusive thoughts that was driving me insane, and that really is what got me to into the program.
So what are you doing today now? You said you're a counselor. Where do you
I'm a
work?
counselor. I'm working with Chris Spencer and Spencer Recovery, and then, you know, that's just the first step for me. You know, just being passionate about it and wanting to help other people.
You get to see a lot of great transitions.
You know, even like this grandma came in, she was 80 years old, and she just realized she was an alcoholic. You know, she had a DUI, and she was amazing. You know, just stuff like that. It's amazing to me.
That's great. I think I was behind her yesterday on the freeway. Wonderful. Now, you know, in all seriousness, I mean, look at how full your life is, and the fact that you came up here to help other people is just amazing. The next person that we have is Greg. Greg also was on our last show. He was struggling around the holidays. He wanted to end his life, and you could see the hopelessness that he had in his eyes, but the willingness that he had to do whatever it takes to turn his life around. And I think that Jordan touched on this. Yes, you go into a facility, you accept treatment, but it's not about them giving you it. It's about what you can do with what's in front of you. You know, he chose to utilize everything, and you can tell he's using it to his fullest.
Alcohol, methamphetamines, heroin. There are many ways to get addicted. Fortunately, there are a number of ways to start recovery. Call the Intervention and Treatment Referral now, offered by Spencer Recovery Centers.
We have someone in the audience here named Greg.
My disease took me, to the dark place where I was hiding it. You know, I was drinking very heavily. And on December 20th, I tried to end it all. And that didn't work, and I ended up in a psych hospital for Christmas. I don't know what to do.
Are you willing to go to treatment?
I'm willing because, like you said, I want a much better Christmas. Yes, I'm ready to go.
So lots changed between now and December 20th.
A lot has changed, yes. I want my life back, and I have my life back, So there's hope, and there's actually a reason to live, So I'm very thankful for all the stuff that's been given to me, I know I have some more to do, but I've started that journey, and each step that I take is amazing, and I'm very happy.
When you were talking about wanting to end your life, I mean, can you talk a little bit about what it was like at that point when you were, isolated by yourself?
Well, it was very, it was very dark, I try to put it out of my mind, not to think about it, but I was literally going insane. So it just seemed like it was the most logical, at that time, the best thinking, was to end it. I've never been a coward before, but I was really a coward then, because the disease really had me. And when you say the isolation is the biggest part about it, I didn't reach out to anybody. I just stayed within myself. And now I know that's not the thing to do at all. It's reaching out, it's talking to others, it's finding a fellowship, and that's what I've found. And I had lost that hope in myself, years ago, but I have it back.
Feels good to give back, doesn't it?
It really does. It does. There's things in your lives that can, you don't know who it's going to touch or who it's going to help. If I, at any point, inspire them to get the help that we all need, God, it would be amazing to hear that.
So it doesn't matter how much time you have. You put some time together, or you just have a day, but your story helps other people. What are your thoughts? What do you want to do? What do you want to become?
Before I got into my addiction years ago, I wanted to be a counselor. I wanted to help people, give to people, because I've experienced stuff. Although you don't have to have experience, to help. You know, you just have to have an open heart, you know, a kind heart, and a willingness. And actually, that's what I want to do.
Well, it's good because you're in this transition period where you're going from treatment to the real world. And Curtis is willing to kind of take your hand with this and keep you moving forward with getting your counseling certificate. It's so selfless, this program that we're in. You know, we all are here in recovery. We're willing to reach our hand out, not looking for what we're going to get in return, just willing to be of service because it feels good to help other people. We have someone that's here in the audience that has not been totally convinced that he needs to get sober and go to treatment. And it's a scary thing to come here, you know, not really knowing what recovery now is or what we're actually trying to do here. But we need some participation first because I need to be able to feel the love in this room. It's important that people that are new to sobriety or new to recovery understand that no one judges them, that their stories, like these stories, help other people in ways we don't even know. I guess if you think back to you know, when it was the hardest, when you were using and when you were totally isolated, you were by yourself, you had pushed your family and friends away, and you didn't think that you were going to be able to make it. You were basically convinced that if you're going to die, you're going to die on drugs. There was no way you're going to get around it. What would you say to someone right now that was teetering on whether or not they should take this step for themselves?
You don't want to rob the world of you, and that's what you're doing. So take a chance. You'll be very surprised what you find on the other side. It's been an amazing journey. Thank you.
So what I want to ask now is, would the person mind coming up to talk to me? Sure. So your name is Mark?
My name is Mark.
And where are you from?
Originally from Ohio, but came out to California about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And now, you know, pretty much lost everything due to my addiction. Lost my job. Lost my fiance.
You've never been exposed to treatment or any 12-step support systems in the past?
No.
Okay. What happened? What happened at work?
You know, I just couldn't stop shooting the Dilaudid. Just
You were shooting Dilaudid.
shooting Dilaudid, mixing it with benzos. Using the Dilaudid, you know, you need more and more and more. And, you know, plus it takes you to such a dark place. You know, there I was with a really great job, and you wake up one day and you just don't want to live. You know, you just, okay, well, they're going to take 100 hydrocodones or 100 milligrams of hydrocodone, and I'm going to take 40 milligrams of Valium, and let's line up a whole bunch of needles, you know, fill it up with 16 milligrams of Dilaudid, just keep shooting. And not a fucking thing happened.
Stop working.
Yeah.
What, were you doing this at work?
Well, yeah, I did it all day long. You know, get up early in the morning, cook up all my needles, you know, put them in a lunchbox, whatever.
What kind of a lunchbox was it? Was it like a Spider-Man lunchbox with needles in it? You know, we'll be able to laugh about that kind of stuff and we are laughing because we've been there before. You know, and it's like you do what you got to do, but the fact is you're slipping into the bath. Some people are going out for a smoke break, and you're slipping in the bathroom to put a needle in your vein with shooting opiates, and you had them all lined up. It was like part of the process.
Right.
How did you go from Dilaudid? I mean, did you go right from smoking marijuana to shooting Dilaudid, or was it?
Well, I never liked marijuana.
Okay.
So you could never handle it.
You couldn't handle marijuana, but you could handle shooting. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You know, bad car accident, and
Okay.
you know, probably back in 2003. Then my doctor, she just, you know, I could get 100 Vicodin every 2 weeks. You know, and just kind of went on that, and I kind of put that behind me for a bit, and stayed sober for about a year, and then got into a jet ski accident. So next thing you know, it's Norco and MS Cotton, and then, you know, doing a lot of that. And then you just kind of look at the doctor and go, look, these meds aren't working. I can take 2 or 3 of these puppies. It's candy. What do you got? And, you know, he gave me Dilaudid.
Yeah.
So 128 milligram Dilaudid didn't last me but a week. So, you know, and then.
That must have been pretty.
Yeah. You know, just hid up in the bedroom for a couple days and.
Sweat it. So you basically did it yourself, and you're there, and you seem like a smart guy, and you're able to achieve these great achievements by getting great jobs, and you had the company car, and you had the life and the fiance, and now it's allotted. I mean, in an economy like this, to get a great job is difficult, and then you throw it away with allotted, but you're there, and you realize that there's something missing. You just can't do this on your own. You're staying at your friend's house, and I know that you shared with me that you're still taking Valium, and that's what has been helping you, but it seems like you're open to learning how to live a sober life.
Yes.
You know, can you tell me what you're feeling right now?
Nervous.
Yeah. But I mean, did it help at all seeing what you saw?
Yes.
Do you feel hope?
Yes, I do. Definitely.
What I think is in store for you if you choose to go to treatment is going through a detox properly without you managing your detox and having the support system there. Seeing a physician who specializes in addiction and understands that the medication that might be used for detox will help you and be conducive to recovery, not lead you back out down that road again.
Right.
A lot of us had gone through a few different programs first, but you can make it on the first time, I think. You know, it's all about what you put into it. And again, I said this before, it's like, what do we have to lose, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does anyone have a question for Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark's uncle, and I love him with all of my heart, as does all of his other family members who are in Ohio and elsewhere rooting and cheering for him in this step that he's taking. He came down in December, and I had not seen him in almost 7 months, and I was clueless as to the fact that he was shooting up drugs and was addicted, but when he walked into the house, I saw a shell of a person. His weight loss, his passing out during dinner. He tried to make every excuse under the sun. The next morning when he left my home, I said to him, well, the next time you can stay awake and visit with me, come back again. Now, maybe this time, he'll come back whole, complete, and we can be a loving, caring family again. Congratulations.
I think you see that there's a lot of love out there. You have family members here. You have people that will probably become your family in the next 28 days. And you can come back here in 30 or 40 or 66 days and share your story to help other people. You know what? There's so much in store for you. So I'll ask you, do you think you want to go to treatment?
Sure.
Alcohol, methamphetamines, heroin. There are many ways to get addicted. Fortunately, there are a number of ways to start recovery. Call the Intervention and Treatment Referral now, offered by Spencer Recovery Centers.